let's get started. On May 19th, 2025, a notice of this meeting was transmitted to the Board of Education, and a copy of the notice was posted at the Education Center bulletin board. Copies were also transmitted to the Millburn Short Hills Item, the Star Ledger, the Millburn Short Hills Independent Press, and the Township Clerk. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes? Ms. Spelds, Ms. Bettina, can second? All in favor? Thank you. We got it? All right. Moving right into the presentations. Dr. Diskin, would you like to introduce the presenters tonight?
Sure. So tonight I'll be presenting, along with my cabinet team, the State of the District of district goals and board goals, as well then followed right thereafter for the MHS Expanded Pathways and Opportunities for Underclassmen in ELA and Humanities, presented with Ms. Jenny Graff, Una Abrams, and Missy Bryant, along with Mr. Connolly. No, check, check. All right. So tonight, I am very pleased to present our State of the District, our goals and our objectives, both from the district perspective and from the board goals as an update. I'd like to take a moment to thank the administration, the administrators that work closely with me, and the Board of Education for your cooperation in helping make these district goals and board goals come to fruition. Just as a reminder, the process for goal setting and how these goals came to be, on June 27th or thereabouts, the board held a retreat that talked about some of the things that we'd like to see moving forward in the district. From there, the board committees reviewed. Then it was approved in August by the Board of Education. And then once that's done, I take the opportunity to review with the administrators. They use that, the principals and their departments all use that to develop their building and school goals. And then they develop the individual goals for administrators, principals, staff, and teachers. And all of those should align, the district goals should align down that pyramid so that we can accomplish more together. As you know, District Goal 1 is a strategic plan. These are all listed on the website. And so just to talk a little bit about our indicators of achievement. As you know, we have been in the process of creating the strategic plan with TMI. We developed and launched a pretty comprehensive strategic planning website. We have established a core admin team for this. You know that the board was presented to by TMI regarding their process. We hosted focus sessions, and then we had a request for volunteers to show up, to sign up for core teams. We had our wheel of participants that was launched on December 2nd, and then those people were notified that they were selected by our wheel to be on one of the groups of the 5 groups. And then just recently, we've launched a survey to students, parents, and faculty, and then the community, which will which went out and will be due at the end of the week. But what's ahead? You know, it's always a work in progress. Our goal is to have it approved at the June 26th meeting. TMI will analyze the survey results. Those survey results are completely anonymous. TMI is the only one that sees them and takes a look at those. And then those are the core planning team meetings that are going to be held. There are 5 sessions, as well as the presentation of the action plan in June. And District Goal 2 talked about that operational culture and climate with many new leaders coming into the school district. We wanted to make sure that they were set for success. And so what was some of the progress there? We launched that Leadership Academy that we spoke of. We conducted those 8 leadership sessions, and you can see the list of topics. They continue to be held with meetings and things as things come up. We created standard operating procedures. You can see what's listed below, and that is just the beginning of some of the things that we're looking to get consistency and continuity in across the district. What's ahead? We will continue to develop those systems for cross-departmental communication, especially in HR, C&I, and the business office. We are establishing HIBSTER protocols. We have a new HIBSTER program, and we're continuing our HIB trainings. The elementary handbooks were designed to provide some consistency and continuity across the elementary schools, and we will continue to be sure that they are up to date. We're going to look at making sure our onboarding and offboarding procedures, including a focus on non-certified staff, are up to date, as well as looking at our position control roster and auditing our teacher administration and certifications. For District Goal 3, we have the analysis of culture and climate in terms of the middle school performance data, looking at the alignment between middle school and high school, the evaluation of the recommended of AP electives, development of the WIN period, and the counseling framework. That in itself, all of those bullets could be their own goals. So just to let you know how comprehensive this District Goal 3 is. So evidence of progress, and I know that we have Mr. Connolly here and Ms. Soa here if we have any questions, but I'll just briefly go through this. We took a look at the middle school performance and presented that. I believe Mr. Connolly presented that in October, making those adjustments from middle school course placements and how it progresses into high school. We are tonight presenting on the ELA and humanities, and then in January we'll present on the math, science, and STEM. The What I Need period or the WIN period across the elementary schools have been instituted, and we'll look to have a presentation just on WIN in about February or March. And as we know, the focus on elementary social emotional learning and how we look at our counseling services are in place. And then you've seen many presentations from Catherine and the high school guidance department in terms of their targeted college and career readiness lessons. Of course, we have the health and PE along with the counseling program. But what's ahead? The department and guidance meetings will be held. In other words, all of the core content areas from each of the curricular departments will meet together with the middle school and high school to collaborate, and this happens in January. That will help to develop our school course catalogs in both the middle school and the high school so that we can move up sort of the advance of student scheduling. And then I know the Ms. Soa is working diligently with her team to create that counseling framework and a handbook aligned with the American School Counselor Association standards. Now on to the board goals. This is something that the board asked or really wanted to have happen, so we're working together to get these done. And one is the educational reporting. So we have done a review of our current reports and metrics. We have created a data dashboard. We reviewed and revised Policy 115 and published a calendar of board presentations thus far. While this looks like it's completed, we always want to keep striving and keep growing. So it's not a fait accompli that we've completed those 3 things. It's just a measurement to say we're going to continue to grow on this. So the Governance Committee is going to review Regulation 115. We're going to continue to add those reports and metrics to the public data dashboard. and establish those yearly metrics and presentations to support that policy. I think this is a perfect example of kind of getting it done and then moving forward with what the other items are. Board Goal 2, strengthening communications. As you know, we have a new website that was done and updated. But beyond that, we have developed the Millburn School District Faculty Administration and Board Communication Standard Operating Procedures, which adds in a layer of the school building to the district council and then to board staff liaison. A committee was formed to partner with every district department, each principal and the secondary school teams to review the current website, streamline its navigation, ensure accuracy while supporting the transparency and accessibility. So we'll have more on that, and Ms. Terry Hecht and Mr. Kyle Arlington will kind of fill us in on more of that information come January. But what's ahead? We continue to standardize those protocols for improvement with our substitute providers. Human Resources created a study group of internal stakeholders to enhance human resources and their leadership. We've begun to improve the onboarding and offboarding processes, and we created the HR flow chart to help everyone understand exactly where their roles are in that department. And then Board Goal 3, we looked at policy audits. We're looking for a full policy audit by April with recommendations. And then, of course, we already talked about updating the district website for improved policy access, which we've already done. That's with Strauss Esme. And so we formalized the Policy Audit Committee. We've reviewed to date 198 policies. We've reviewed all 46 bylaws, and we are now in compliance. The Strauss Esme link for easy access was made available on August 6th, and we continue to prioritize essential or mandated policies as we go through. But what's ahead? Again, a systematic review. You can see the number of policies that each one has, so there's quite a lot. There are a total of 561 policies to be reviewed for current compliance. Again, we're focusing on the mandated policies, and then we'll move towards the others. And certainly we will make a recommendation as we continue this audit. I do want to recognize that it's not just myself, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Soa, and Mr. Arlington that contribute to these district goals. We had a faculty meeting, or a meeting with our administrative staff, which includes principals, directors, and even athletic director. Everyone comes to the table, and they did a Padlet for us, and they talked a lot about what are the things that they're doing in their schools to help to support these district goals. And so when we think about the strategic planning efforts, everyone is participating. We've had them strengthen their communications through a SMORE or Thrill Share newsletters to better align our resources and to create a unified vision across our schools. The standard operating procedures and the protocol and leadership structure all provides us with that unified workflow and a streamlined process to empower consistency within our leadership. And as we know, our academic culture, we focused on the MTSS, or multiple tiered systems of support, which also aligns with our WIN period, what I need in the elementary schools. And this is in an effort to create an individualized learning plan to provide early support through data-driven instruction. And teaching, learning, and innovation, we all focused on the AI. We looked at technology across. We have done a nice framework with AI and expanded equitable access through our high school through pathways and learning opportunities. And this is all in an effort for our future ready education, the digital tools that will need to be successful in modernizing our curriculum. And then finally, through social emotional learning and our school climate, we've created that alignment of school counseling lessons, K through 8. We've looked at supports and increasing those supports at a counselor level in all of our elementary schools. And we've developed consistent themes across those schools. And this is also in an effort to support the well-being of our students and support their environment and holistic growth. Couldn't do it without all of the principals, the administrators, the supervisors, the teachers, the staff. Everyone contributes to the district goals. So I thank you for that. And I do, again, want to thank the leaders, the teachers, and the staff. This is a Wordle that we did based upon comments we received. Everyone has been so solutions oriented. They're supportive, they're collaborative, engaging, they're helpful. They're strategically focused with us. And, you know, I love the word camaraderie and teamwork in there. And someone put in fun, like this has been fun. So we will take questions if you'd like. This is an update, and another update will be coming intermittently between January and the spring, so that you'll hear all about the great work that's being done in those particular areas. And that concludes my presentation.
Mr. Fairshooten?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. It's been a very busy year, as evidenced by the material that you had. It's been a very productive year. It's hard to believe that the year's over, but the board would like to just thank and congratulate the administration, all the teachers, staff members, everyone who's been involved. There has been a ton of work done. We're not done yet, but I just want to acknowledge everything that the team has done this year. Thank you.
On to the next. Mr. Connolly?
So good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be able to introduce this next presentation, expanding pathways and opportunities for underclassmen. When we started out this work, it was going to be a full-blown, all 4 departments. The amount of content would have been way overwhelming, so we really decided to break it in and allow just to dig in on ELA and humanities first, and then in January we'll launch the math and science and STEM pathways. I'm excited to introduce Director of Humanities Jenny Graff, Supervisor of Social Studies K-12 Kristen Brindelson, Supervisor of K-12 World Language and ESL Susie Lopes-Glenn, Director of ELA Una Abrams, and Supervisor 612 Melissa Bryan to assist me with this presentation. You know, as we begin to think about our work here, it directly aligns to district goal number 3, the academic culture and climate. This has been, you know, a long time coming, where we're really looking like, how do we open up the access and create opportunities for students that may not have existed 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago. And so, you know, through a lot of data and through a lot of research, we feel that we've come to a really good spot. And I think there's more to come, right? So I think that this is not our landing place, but it is certainly a very large step in the right direction for Millburn Township Public Schools. So the goal of our work, to examine the existing pathways. As we last winter, we did an overview of our pathways. We continue down that road of an iterative process to begin to look at these again and make sure that we're where we need to be. And the opportunities at the high school, what do they look like for our students? And when we talk about students, we look about all students, right? Not just our highest performing students, but how do we find opportunities for those students that may not have been able to have access, and expand those access, particularly in those AP courses where some students may not have had opportunities in previous experiences. So one of the ways that we're doing that is by introducing the dual enrollment. And so this is a big initiative. We talked about it last year when I came on board in January. And so for the fall of 2026, this will be an opportunity for our students. And just, you know, a very high overview, as we'll touch on this a little bit more in January, but this does expand access. It expands access. It creates another opportunity. It doesn't necessarily just have to be AP or an accelerated class. Now students will have the opportunity to start taking courses that are aligned with Seton Hall University, taught by our teachers, and they will give them another rigorous opportunity to take a course that will be seen well on their transcript, and creates a different opportunity for a different pool of students within our school community. It's a diverse, supports diverse learning. This will be open and accessible to students in that CPB, that CPA, that honors, and even that pathway opportunity, depending on what fits that student's academic profile. it allows students to accrue access and credits to college at an earlier age. It may not necessarily result directly in reducing a student's course load depending on the school that they choose, but for some schools it may directly have an impact on the amount of courses that they're walking into their freshman year with as a result of opportunities that they will now have at Millburn High School. It also data-driven pathways. We will continue to look at our offerings through this dual enrollment program. It'll be based on student interest, right, and emerging trends within our education world. We'll build cohorts. We'll build opportunities for students to be able to kind of say, this is what I'm interested in, and how can we best serve those students' needs. It'll also provide an opportunity to potentially offer courses that we haven't been able to offer at Millburn High School because of staffing and things like that. So this, it's in its infancy here in Millburn, but we are really excited about taking that big step forward. There are academic advantages. It allows for students to have that collegiate experience at a high school level. There are potentially financial advantages. As again, I mentioned, it could eventually reduce tuition costs for parents, depending on the school or university that they choose to go to. College admissions, I was on a webinar or a podcast today with the University of Notre Dame recruiter and a local college director of guidance. And one of the things that they said here is that the dual enrollment classes are seen positively, and it is seen on that same level as an AP. It shows and it demonstrates that a student is stretching themselves and that the depth and rigor that they're willing to put themselves out for can have a positive impact. And then opportunities to explore different majors, maybe a point of interest or something. So again, this is really exciting. We haven't had it, and it creates an opportunity for our students here in Millburn and another pathway that we're going to be offering students. So what does that do for this presentation? I'm going to introduce Director Jenny Graff to come up here and talk a little bit about some dual enrollment opportunities that will be available in the fall of 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. Good evening. Yes, we are very excited to be offering dual enrollment opportunities for the 26-27 school year. There has been a lot of hard work that went into this, working with Ms. Alvarez, all of the directors, the supervisors, and the teachers, of course, because they have a huge part in some of these opportunities that we're able to offer for our students in the upcoming school year. The goal for the 26-27 school year with dual enrollment was to offer one course for each department. And we want to hopefully expand each year upon that. So within world languages, we have Latin, Greco-Roman mythology. Social studies, we have human rights. And in English language arts, we have Brit Lit that we are going to be offering, and we're really excited about this opportunity. So within the area of social studies, really lucky that we have our supervisors now. Ms. Brindelson, she's the pre-K to 12 social studies supervisor. She is doing an amazing job. We have some exciting news. So for the 26-27 school year, we'll be expanding AP pathways for students. So if you look at on the left, we have our AP elective course. We have the current grade level at which it's being offered. And then on the right are the proposed changes. So as you can see, we are offering more AP courses to underclassmen in 5 courses. That's a lot. And I really want to thank the teachers for this as well, because there's been constant dialogue and feedback gathered from the teachers at a lot of the department meetings. So we are really excited, though, to be able to offer these new opportunities for a lot more students within the district. This has been something that a goal of ours in the department for the year. We started talking about this last year, and we're really excited. So Ms. Brindelson's now going to come up and talk about our changes for our criteria as well, which will also offer more consistency within the department and offer more opportunities for more students.
Thank you. Good evening. So the primary goals for revising our AP enrollment criteria within social studies was first to provide increased opportunity and access for a greater number of students, including qualified underclassmen, to participate in AP coursework. And second, to establish clear and consistent criteria across our AP courses in the department, really promoting that equity and transparency in student placement. So when you look at this chart, you'll see in the center are our AP courses that we offer. There's the table continues on the next slide. I'll get to that in a minute. But on the left are the current criteria, or the criteria for placement for this school year. And then on the right is how we're planning to change the criteria for next school year, 26-27. So AP World History was a new course for us this year. We were piloting that for freshmen, and it's been really successful. We are going to maintain those same criteria for the incoming freshman class. They'll need to maintain a 90 or above in their 8th grade accelerated social studies course. For most other AP courses, I'm not going to go over each one individually, but what you'll notice, again, the consistency here, is that for most of them, the new criteria require a B- in an accelerated social studies course or an A- in a CPA social studies course. On the next slide, you'll see our additional courses. We have a lot in our department. One difference that you'll note is with our AP Economics course down there at the bottom. That one's a little bit different. This is because that course is really 2 college courses in one. That is our macroeconomics and microeconomics. The students take both of those courses in 1 year, and they sit for 2 AP exams. So it's a really quite rigorous course, and we wanted to distinguish it from AP Macro Seminar, which is just it's the macroeconomics course, and there's 1 exam that goes along with that course. So that's why those criteria are a little bit different. So for AP Economics, you'll see we still expanded the criteria. It used to be an A- in AP Pre-Calc. We've changed the requirement to Algebra 2, a B+ in Accelerated Algebra 2, because we really want to make sure that the students are well prepared for this rigorous double exam course. These revisions, again, are designed to kind of really align our enrollment criteria with the goal of increasing AP opportunities across the district. And we anticipate that these changes are going to provide a greater number of students with a chance to engage in that rigorous college-level social studies coursework.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about world language and ESL. So we have a new supervisor, Miss Lopes-Glenn, who's doing a phenomenal job. And one of the things that we're really excited to offer for the upcoming school year has to do with the Seal of Biliteracy. So the Seal of Biliteracy is an official award and transcript designation recognizing students who demonstrate high proficiency in both English and a world language. So currently, only seniors currently enrolled in a world language course are eligible to apply for the seal. However, this is going to change where all seniors eligible to apply for the Seal of Biliteracy. That means that seniors don't currently have to be enrolled in a world language course to be eligible for the Seal of Biliteracy. They would have had to have complete their world language requirement, so maybe they finished their sophomore or their junior year, and then they sat for the exam and they passed. So this will open up the opportunity for more students to possibly attain the Seal of Biliteracy. So we're really excited about this. Now Ms. Lopes-Glenn is going to talk a little bit about our world language update and talk about the elementary through high school progression.
Thank you. So we have elementary through high school world language instruction, and at the elementary and middle school level it is Spanish, and then it moves into at the middle school Spanish and French. And then as you can see at the high school we offer 5 world languages: Chinese, French, Italian, Latin, and Spanish. And so students have a great deal of opportunities to choose which language they prefer to take, and they can go through from level 1 all the way through AP, and in Spanish and French they can move beyond that into those unique electives that Millburn offers to those students, building on their cultural competence and their language skills. And then for English as a second language, we have been supporting multilingual learners in the classroom, and we've had some district level professional development run by our wonderful ESL teachers with, as you can see, a guest speaker, our Chinese world language teacher at the high school, who facilitated part of the presentation as well, to really make sure that we are supporting those multilingual learners as much as possible in all of their coursework.
Thanks. Now I want to turn it over to Ms. Una Abrams, the Director of English Language Arts.
Thank you, Ms. Graff, and I'm joined as well here this evening by Melissa Bryan, who is our Supervisor 6 to 12 of English Language Arts. We don't have nearly as many classes to talk about as Ms. Graff and her team did. but nonetheless, we are equally as excited this evening. So we are here this evening to talk about the rollout of AP Seminar next year for our grade 10 students as an English Language Arts course option. And in addition, as Mr. Connolly underscored before, our British Literature dual enrollment option through Seton Hall University. So our pathways here, in a nutshell, are, in 9, everyone comes in. They're coming in at CPB, CPA, or accelerated level. Then in grade 10, this is where our pathway opens just a little bit more. And this was a fantastic opportunity for the English department to provide this service to our whole school community through the offering of AP Seminar. AP Seminar is a unique course in that it could be offered in a variety of departments at the high school level. And we are choosing this as our pathway in ELA. In addition, of course, the fantastic course offerings in American literature, again at all of those levels. In grade 11, AP Language is the standard. British Literature, CPA, or accelerated with the dual enrollment option is again in that expanded pathway. And then for students who do not want to partake in either of those two pathways, they can have access to some fantastic English elective. They can choose from a variety of semester courses within the British Literature suite. And then, of course, in grade 12, we have AP Literature and a whole plethora of potential electives that our seniors can take to fulfill their English Language Arts requirement. So I am going to pass this over to Melissa Bryan to tell you a little bit more about AP Seminar.
Hello, thanks for having me. Sorry, just gonna bring this a little. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about AP Seminar. Just as some background, it is a really dynamic student-centered course, and it fulfills the ELA 10 English Language Arts requirement. It's specifically designed around inquiry, and students in this course will read research, articles, and American literature texts around themes and topics of their choice and interest. Students will collaborate throughout the year and develop their interests through honing research skills, presenting, writing, and their critical thinking skills as well. And we're really excited about this class because of it opening the opportunities for students. One of the unique things about this course, which is worth sharing too, is the particular assessment design. Specifically, there are 3 types of assessments. 2 of them are task assessments, and then the final culminating one is the AP Seminar exam, sort of typical of the AP program. But those task assignments, performance task ones, there are 2, and the first one and the second one both continue to work on the writing component that I think is really central to the work we already do at the high school. But then in addition, there's some team presentation and oral defenses of their writing. So it opens up a lot of opportunities for students to show the way that they've learned the material. And again, also it is a unique course because it is so student-centered and inquiry-driven. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. So just another facet that I want to underscore is that AP Seminar as a course option. It perhaps might be the only AP course that a student may take in ELA in grade 10 before they might move on to AP Physics, or they might move on to another more research-heavy course, and then they've had that opportunity. Or, of course, our wish is that they take all 3 years. But, it does set them up really beautifully for, and the research also shows, and Ms. Bryan has done her share of research on this, it sets them up quite beautifully for success in any number of other AP courses that they may take. Similar to, or identical to, I should say, not just similar to, identical to our humanities department, our proposed criteria do align with theirs. We are proposing that for AP seminar for the dual enrollment, as well as AP Lang and Literature, that we're looking at a B- in the accelerated level and an A- in the CPA level across all of those courses for placement. And that's us. Thank you very much.
We're happy to take a question or two if there is one.
Thank you so much for the work that's gone in. Very excited about dual enrollment. My only one comment, for folks who don't know what dual enrollment is, could you explain how it works? Like, what exactly is dual enrollment? And where will the classes be held? Things like that.
Sure. So, in a nutshell, it's going to be held here at Millburn High School, and we are partnering with Seton Hall University in this initial year, and that what they are allowing us to do is take our curriculums, submit them to them, and they'll work with us and our teachers to create those college-level courses from there. And so we're going to continue to roll out more information. I believe in January 26th, we're going to kind of have that part of a bigger portion of this with what does it look like with weight? What does it look like with, will a student be able to sit next to a student who's not in dual enrollment, right? So part of it is that as a parent, if you're sitting in a dual enrollment class, you can say, I'm going to elect to opt into the dual enrollment aspect of that portion of the course, and then you would submit and receive a transcript from Seton Hall University as part of your transcript that you get here at Millburn High School. And that's, kind of a nutshell, but we're going to kind of roll out more of that information later. Go ahead. Any other question?
I was just going to ask, so in terms of the dual enrollment GPA on the Millburn transcript, which bucket does it fall into?
So that's part of the weighting conversation that we're still having at this point about what that looks like. So, the idea is that there'll be college prep courses, and so that some of the initial the initial value in that is that a student will have the opportunity to put on a college level course onto their transcript. The question is whether we weight it or not, and that's kind of where we're at this point.
So it's still TBD?
Correct.
Got it. And then, good night, sorry. Just a follow-on question, if you go back to the scale for admissions, which I think it's great, maybe just to take a step back.
This one, or where do you want?
That's fine. In terms of taking a step back, I think just for context, the number of AP classes and exams that have been taken last year versus maybe 2, 3, 5 years ago is just like the trajectory's through the roof. So it looks like this is going to continue to expand it, which I think is great to open up the quantity of access to all different levels of students. My question would be more centered around which students are being provided that access. And when you look at a B- in Excel versus an A- in CPA, what was the methodology that was determined or used rather to determine the equivalence between those two levels? And I say it mainly because I don't have any of the data supporting that, but I know you talked about data-driven and equality, so I'm just asking what the impact is to each of those levels.
So there was two methodologies that were really kind of into play here. One being we wanted to have a consistent level of criteria. If you remember looking at the AP Access before, it was each course had its own criteria, right? And it was all over the map and what it was. So one thing we tried to do in departments, which really then aligned really for ELA and humanities, was to look at how can we align these together, right? And not have criteria all over the map. So that was one. And two, we're looking at some of the criteria that we use in other ways, like students staying in an accelerated class at an 80, right? We use an 83 here. We dropped it all the way down to an 80 for those students to be able to have access, and we dropped it down to a 90 in the CPA.
Right, that I understand, but maybe just to drill down a level, like the B- in Excel on the weighted GPA scale is much higher than the A-. And then also on here is not CPB, but CPB is college prep, just like CPA is. So, you know, just drawing the lines, I'm trying to understand the methodology between the three levels to ensure the equivalence for admissions into AP.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the CPB criteria, but it aligns with the opportunity to allow students access at their level. We also want to maintain some level of entry so that students don't misplace themselves by taking additional AP classes. I don't know that there's a correlation between the GPA weighting and what we're using for criteria to go into the classes.
Ms. Spells?
Luckily, we're on this exact slide I wanted to mention. So just one thing that I would love to consider when you started talking about dual enrollment, we talked about how it would be an entry point for a broader range of students or a different range of students as well. So if we still have it as an A- in CPA, I'm concerned that we wouldn't be capturing that additional swath of students. So if that was something we could, you know, reflect on a little bit and to see if there was a way to make sure that more kids had that dual enrollment opportunity.
So as of right now, we haven't set necessarily bars for students to get into those dual enrollment classes because we really want to see them as CP level classes for students to be able to get in. The question whether or not we weight those is a different conversation, and whether we're letting the CP student in, whether it's CPB, CPA, they would, if we weight it, it's still going to carry the weight with it, right? So we're not necessarily looking at the same type of criteria to have on this.
Okay, that's just because you have it listed as criteria here. Proposed criteria. For dual enrollment, British literature, so dual enrollment. That's the one I'm talking, you see the one, right? Dual enrollment, British lit. The proposed criteria is an A- in CPA admin.
You want to speak to that?
Sorry,
I
thank you.
think we would be happy to look at this and speak about it some more. So I think that in aligning our, you know, that placement and looking at the dual enrollment as an option, I wanted to make sure that we were aligned. But we can certainly take it under, we can certainly discuss more. Okay, Ms. Conlon? All right, thank you.
That would be great, just to make sure that we're hitting that additional swath of students. Thanks.
Ms. Long-Richards?
Yeah, I also shared that same concern about the dual enrollment, because in all of our conversations, we'd never spoken about a criteria for dual enrollment, so if we could just, you know, keep that a conversation, that'd be great. And then just wanted to clarify, I think when we define proficiency, when we set up the proficiency levels in the district, we defined a 90 and above as above proficiency, and an 80 and above as proficient, right? So those are the two proficiency levels, and then down from there. So I think that's kind of where this comes from, right? The A- is the 90 and the B being the 80. Just kind of aligning that with the district proficiency levels that we set. So that was just my two comments, but excited about the opportunities for sure.
So the only other thing I just wanted to mention just on all of this is that, you know, the criteria was also taken into account with all the grading and assessment changes that we've made along the way, and that has in and of itself opened up tremendous access to students because of the grades and the opportunities that students have to really demonstrate their performance. So, you know, a lot of this is also taken into account where we're dropping down the different criteria for students to get in as well. So, and again, as I started out this presentation, this doesn't necessarily need to be the landing spot moving forward. We can continue to evaluate this and make the right changes for our district. We opened up access this year. We saw that there were some challenges that were associated with that. And so we're continuing to open up access, even though there were challenges along the way. We worked through those challenges. We found better pathways. This is the next iteration. And I imagine, hopefully, we're standing up here again next year and we're rolling out a new set of iterations on what this looks like. So this is a work in progress, but I mean, we've really, I'm very proud of the work the team has done and where we've come and where we can continue to grow and improve upon this. So if there's any other questions, we'll take them. If not, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the directors and the whole team there for getting something. This was a priority that, as someone mentioned, was started last year, was to bring access to the underclassmen. So human geo in 10th grade, AP seminar in 10th grade, and then a lot of the senior classes moving on to junior year will allow students in the school to have AP credits on their transcripts, like when they apply early to colleges, and just many more APs as they go through school. I think, with the grading changes, those A minuses, hopefully will capture, I think they will capture a lot more students. So it's just great to see. I think this was like a goal set out, and working with the teachers, who we should thank as well for working with you guys. But, really bringing this, and as Mr. Gonzalez, I'm sure there'll be future revisions, but it's a great start to expanding. And as someone said, I think we're already up 36% on AP courses taken. This is going to be another potentially huge increase as well. So thank you guys for all the hard work on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Conley, can you just enlighten us on the timeline? It's great you got this out in December. You referenced the next meeting will be the STEM side of the equation. I assume the public will have comments. The board kind of said, go back, take a look at a few things. At what point does this have to be locked down?
Our plan is to have this ready for student selection in when we start that process, late January, early February for students. So, the things that we need to go back and look at, we'll continue to go back and tweak. But, we are a go with these items and this access to be available for the coming school year. So we are very excited for that.
Great. Thank you so much to
Great.
everyone who participated in putting this together. And Dr. Diskin, of course.
Yeah, of course. I believe you're doing the math and science on January 26th.
January 26th, and then in that presentation as well, we'll have more information on the dual enrollment, what that looks like, and finalized with whether, what that looks like weight-wise, and,
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. On to President's reports. Just a few things for me. First off, happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah if you're currently celebrating. An early Merry Christmas to those who celebrate that. I hope we can get through our last week of school here and everyone enjoys a couple weeks off and come back refreshed for the new year. That's great to see Mr. Nixon in the back there. I guess you made it through your first week. It's going good for week 2. Welcome. Second, I know Dr. Diskin will probably talk about it more, but I have to acknowledge that the tragedies around the world, whether it's Brown University or Bondi Beach, it's an incredible world we live in, and certainly thoughts and prayers go out to all those that have been impacted by these situations and others like it that seem to be occurring in all too frequent of a manner. And lastly, this is my last meeting. I'd just like to say thank you to the public who elected me 3 years ago, 3 long years ago, as it seems, and certainly thank you to my fellow board members for allowing me to serve as president over this past year. It's been a great honor, and certainly thank you to Ms. Bettina. It's your last meeting also. You've been a great partner over these last 3 years, so it's certainly been enjoyable getting to know you better and work with you. That's all for me. Dr. Diskin.
So we have some sad news to report. In addition to the recent tragedies, I'd like to start with, we've learned of the passing of Jerry Satchel, a former employee who taught in Millburn for 38 years, from 1965 to 2003. Jerry taught history in both the junior high school and senior high school while coaching football, track, cross country, and most notably wrestling. After retiring, he was an interim principal at Millburn Middle School, Glenwood Elementary, and Millburn High School for 5 years. So I'd like to offer a moment of silence in remembrance of him. Thank you. In addition, this evening, I'd like to acknowledge the recent tragedies at Brown University and in Bondi Beach, Australia. The horrific violence against students trying to finish the fall semester and Australians celebrating the peaceful holiday of Hanukkah is unfathomable. Incidents that impact students and communities anywhere remind us how deeply we all value safety, well-being, and compassion. Our thoughts are with the students, faculty, and staff affected, and we also recognize and stand in solidarity with the Jewish community, both locally and internationally, following the Hanukkah tragic event in Australia. As a district, we affirm our commitment to fostering an inclusive environment that celebrates all cultures and faiths, and we condemn any acts of disrupt peace, joyous communal celebrations and gatherings. There is no place for anti-Semitism or any form of discrimination, harassment, or violence. We denounce it unequivocally. Our schools must be places where every student and every staff member feels seen, valued, and safe. It is in moments like these we are reminded that schools are not just places of learning. They are places where values are lived. Let us model empathy. Let us speak out against hate. And let us recommit ourselves to building a community rooted in respect, courage, and care for one another. Thank you for standing together and for helping ensure our schools remain places of safety, belonging, and respect. I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember those impacted by these tragedies, and we hope and pray on the second night of Hanukkah for light out of the darkness. And we encourage everyone to reach out if you need support. Thank you. Again, Mr. Nixon did survive his first week. He officially began his role as principal at Millburn High School on December 9th, although his first day did come with some quite memorable experiences, a fire alarm first thing in the morning, but then it was followed by waffles, courtesy of Mr. Askins, Ms. Holness, Ms. Landis, Ms. Blumstein, and Mr. Morin. He handled the entire morning with ease, professionalism, and a great sense of humor, immediately setting a positive tone for the day. We are so glad to welcome him, and he quickly became part of our MHS community. He brings more than a decade of experience as principal of Governor Livingston High School, where he's known for his collaborative approach, strong relationships, and student-centered leadership. He's been eager to immerse himself in all things Millburn, the culture, the traditions, and the rich history that makes our district unique. We also extend our sincere gratitude to Kyle Arlington for stepping up as acting principal during this transition. His steady leadership and commitment to the district, our staff, and our students provided a smooth and supportive stretch for the entire school community. So if you see Mr. Nixon around campus or at an event, be sure you've had a chance to say hello, as he brings genuine excitement and enthusiasm and energy to this role, and we are grateful to welcome him to Millburn High School officially. Our strategic planning update, our core, let's give him a nice clap. And thank you for joining us here tonight. Again, like I mentioned in the district presentation, our core planning teams were selected through a live stream drawing on December 2nd, and all chosen members and alternates were notified by email on December 3rd. We are grateful to every individual who submitted an interest and offered their time and perspective for this important work. Your willingness to engage meaningfully in this process is sincerely appreciated. The next major phase is now underway with our district-wide surveys. Millburn Middle School and Millburn High School administrators set time aside on December 8th and 9th for students to complete their surveys. Staff surveys were distributed on December 8th and closed on December 12th. Parent and community surveys were emailed on Friday, December 12th, and will remain open until Friday, December 18th. We encourage parents to share the community survey with neighbors who may not currently have school-aged children in Millburn Township schools, including residents with children in private schools or those even without children. The surveys are entirely anonymous and confidential. TMI Education Corporation will collect and analyze the data, and the results will be shared with the core planning teams who will begin their work from January through April. Please stay informed on our strategic planning website, and questions at any point may be directed to the strategic planning at millburn.org. And again, I want to take a moment of time to congratulate or recognize for 3 years of service on the Millburn Board of Education, serving our students, our staff, and our community, Mr. Heinrichs and Ms. Bettina. And with that, I give you a little gift. So one is a certificate. That's in recognition of the work that you've done over the last 3 years and appreciation for all you've done for the students, the staff, and the community. And Jen, here's yours. something for you to remember Millburn by, and as always, and keep you warm and cozy as the winter comes about. Yeah, I want to personally thank you for spending the last 3 years here. It's been nothing but a pleasure, and you bring such valued ideas and contributions to the board and to the community and to the administration. I'm very grateful to have been able to serve with you. And again, as we approach the holiday season, I do want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to our entire Millburn community, our students, our staff, our family, and those who all support our schools and the community. This time of year reminds us of the importance of connection, kindness, and taking a moment to reflect on all we've accomplished together. So thank you so much for taking care and bringing to our district every day. I wish you a joyful, restful holiday season and a happy, healthy new year. In addition, I have given you a little gift from me. It is wrapped in a pretty white box with a bow that has lots of sparkles in it. So I just want to, thank you for the work that we've done here together. It's been very meaningful. Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Dr. Diskin. On to board committee reports, program. Mr. Finkelstein?
Yep, thanks. We have 2 meetings since the last board meeting. The first was on Friday, December 5th at 2:30 p.m. Board members present were myself, Mr. Bigman as sub, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Speltz as a sub as well. As staff present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Graff, Ms. Martin, and Ms. Abrams. Mr. Connolly and Ms. Graff reviewed the changes to the requirements for the seal of biliteracy that we saw tonight. The prior policy requirements were above state levels in our peer schools. The change will allow more students to apply for the designation. Ms. Martin reviewed a draft presentation of secondary math pathways. The committee had numerous questions and provided feedback on the proposals. There was additional discussions of math levels and opportunities in the district. There was then a brief review of other subject pathways and additional AP opportunities, most of which were presented tonight. I think these had been reviewed at prior meetings and was a follow-up presentation for review. The next meeting was Friday, December 12th at 2:30. Board members present were myself, Ms. Longley-Richards, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Bethina. Staff present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Young, Ms. Martin, Ms. Abrams, and Ms. Graff. Mr. Connolly and the curriculum directors presented student performance for first quarter high school grades. The grading results were compared to the 2 prior years and were presented with enrollment changes alongside. The directors presented findings and areas for focus going forward. Many classes and subjects maintained last year's improvement, while there were a smaller amount of classes where grades declined. The committee asked many questions and continued to reinforce the importance of the new grading and assessment policies. The committee and administration plan to review appropriate timing for data to present to the community. And that's it for me. Sorry, I didn't have this submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Finkelstein. Any questions for program? All right, moving on to governance. Ms. Speltz, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We had one meeting on, hang on, let me get my, getting a little older here. Okay, there we go, much better. The meeting was held December 9th at 5:30 p.m. The board members present were Ms. Jen Batina, Mr. Brian Lawrence, and Abby and myself. Staff present were Dr. Kate Diskin, Mr. Kyle Arlington, and Mr. John Connolly. The new job descriptions were reviewed, including Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Governance, Human Resource Specialist, and Executive Assistant to the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Government, and also the Data Manager. Additional reviews will occur going forward to ensure consistency between job descriptions and ongoing practice. Policy 5460 was reviewed and approved for second reading. The policy had been updated in accordance with recommendations from Strauss-Esme. Regulation 5460 was determined to be outdated and unnecessary based on the updated policy and handbook. Policy and regulations 2530 for resource material and 2525 for library materials were updated to reflect new mandated guidance, including the processes for review of materials based on the Freedom to Read Act. Mr. Arlington walked the committee through the personnel report and the revised organizational chart that will be presented tonight. Dr. Diskin reviewed a draft of the presentation for the update on district and board goals for this school year. Policy 1115 was discussed, including the purpose and history. There had never been a regulation for policy 1115, and it's not standard according to Strauss-Esme. Goals for number 7 of the policy are achieved through existing mechanisms, including but not limited to the data dashboard, district goals, and calendar. The committee discussed developing a regulation and discussed the importance of the regulation addressing the major aims of the entire policy, not only item 7. A draft regulation has been created and will be shared with the governance committee in January. The meeting concluded at 6:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Abby Speltz.
Thank you, Ms. Goltz. Any questions for governance? All right, moving on. Finance, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you. We met on Thursday, December 11th, 7 p.m. Board members present, myself, Ms. Speltz, and Mr. Farshudin, staff president Peter Stars. Facilities review, steam bank stabilization project, contractor on site, concrete forms ready for pouring. The field project agreement with the township to convert 189,000 of grass fields to synthetic turf fields is being finalized with the attorneys. Discussed EI Associates proposal for professional engineering services for the turf project, which needs further refinement. 2025 project review, Millburn High School. Seating scheduled to arrive, I guess it has arrived now, on 12/12. Installation is pending. AV install remaining once Grove finishes painting. Lobby having detailed painting being performed. Woodwork finishes to be done 12/19. Completion date and staff training currently scheduled for January. Roofing metal work still ongoing with punch list items. Air handling unit revised startup December 17th. Boiler room 2 boilers operational as well as number 1 boilers, and punch lists are being addressed. Balancing work to be done over the break. Millburn Middle School weight room conversion punch list being addressed. Washington School Rod Grant HVAC punch list items being addressed. Wyoming School Rod Grant new boilers punch list being addressed. School Mountains, South Mountain School gym HVAC punch list items being addressed. Hartshorn School Media Center glass wall project scheduled for December recess time frame. Work to be completed during day shift hours. Finance review. Review and discuss initial projection of revenues for 26-27 budget. Resolutions. The committee reviewed and recommends the following items for approval by the full board. Bill list dated December 15th, 2025. Board Secretary and Treasurer's monthly financial reports for November regarding geotechnical engineering services as it pertains to high school athletic field improvements. Recommend to execute an agreement between SOR Consulting Engineers and the Millburn Township Board of Education for services specified in the RFP in the amount of $38,200 to be paid through capital reserve account. Recommend to accept and approve the 24-25 annual comprehensive financial report and orders management report. Recommend of authorizing architects to submit necessary paperwork to state for high school roof replacement project. Recommend to approve and accept the following donation: cherry tree for Hartshorn School by Hartshorn Habitat Committee for approximately $1,400. And recommend approval of the following contract allowances: Grove Contracting at the high school auditorium, $37,871.83, and recommend the following payment applications: Amcro for the high school auditorium HVAC, $58,928.50. Amcro HVAC and boilers, $35,588.55. Marshall high school roof replacement, $12,642.50, and Grove Contracting high school auditorium, $148,277.33. And the meeting ended at 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Any questions for finance? No. Moving on, joint facilities. Mr. Bigman?
Yep, the Millburn Joint Facilities Committee met virtually on Monday, December 1st at 2025 at 11:30 a.m. Members present from the Board of Education, School Administration included Noel Bigman, Dan Knight, and Chris Drexel. Township representatives included Chris Myers and Chris Zimmerman, and the Rec Commission included Scott Redler and Chris Drucker. Discussion topics included the paper mill field erosion project, where Mr. Knight provided a status update to the completion of the project. He informed the committee that the project is progressing well and should be finished by mid-December. The Millburn High School backfields expansion project, where Mr. Myers updated the committee on the recent public joint BoE and township meeting and the feedback coming in from the FAQ QR code link on the Millburn Township website, with dozens of responses indicating a nearly 80% favorable acceptance of the project. Next steps continue. The project were discussed, including commencing a geotechnical survey and the recommendation to hold another public meeting to discuss the first round of feedback received. Old business discussed by Mr. Myers included the field fees and season duration, which will require more detailed analysis and discussion with the backfields expansion project. Various field maintenance procedures for the upcoming winter and spring were discussed by Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Myers. For new business, Mr. Zimmerman discussed and reviewed the condition of the middle school fields and additional procedures to potentially be performed in the fall of 2026, pending the status of the high school fields project. A discussion ensued about the usefulness and feasibility of turfing and lighting this field too. Mr. Zimmerman discussed the current year-to-date revenue, which increased from the previous year by nearly $23,000 to $86,468. Expenses for the same period were discussed too. The meeting ended at 12:20 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Noel Bigman.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. Any questions for Joint Facilities? All right. On to Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Conley.
Good evening, everyone. As part of the district's ongoing professional development, the district engaged the Comegno Education Institute to provide training to administrators and anti-bullying specialists on conducting investigations and appropriate interpreting the anti-bullying statute. The name of that professional development was Words Matter, and we discussed HIB, SSDS, affirmative action, and code of conduct training during that PD session. On December 8th, the district hosted a half-day professional development day where teachers focused on specific topics to move the district initiatives forward, provided collaboration time, and refined instructional and assessment practices. At the K-5 level, K-5 staff received training on Lincoln's Intervention Manager, strengthening SEL practices, scaffolding, and prepared for the 5th grade code day. Middle school teachers focused on differentiation for multilingual learners, argumentative writing and science, and using AI to design differentiated lessons. The high school teachers worked on the pathways, common assessments, midterms, and AI-supported lesson and assessment design. And music department and the art department finalized plans for the district's performances and exhibits, with instructional music exploring harmony director and visual arts aligning with digital arts. Policies and regulation updates on tonight's agenda. As you've heard already, you will see Millburn Township Public Schools BoE Regulation 5460, high school graduation, as part of our ongoing Board of Education and policy and regulation audit, and our recent adjustments to policy 5460 up for second reading tonight. We are recommending that the BoE abolish regulation number 5460. Policy number 5460 is a non-mandatory regulation associated with that policy, and that was last updated, that regulation being last updated in 1998, and it contains outdated information. Portions of that policy are supported through the new updated Individualized Student Learning Opportunities Handbook, specifically the ISLO, and formerly known as Option 2. Additionally, up for a first reading are policy number 2530, which is resource materials, that's recently revised, and number 2535, library materials, which is newly developed and mandated. Said policies distinguish between supplemental resources used in the classroom and the library materials. And then some highlights. From the week, Washington School had its 8th annual Code Day on Friday the 12th. Washington School held its 8th annual Code Day on Friday, December 12th, organized by the technology facilitator, Bridget Cunningham. This all-day event immersed students in innovation. Students spent the day creating, designing, coding, and building. The PTO supported the STEAM Museum, where students interacted with various stations. At South Mountain School, South Mountain's first grade classes celebrated the publication of their narrative writing on Thursday, December 4th. Family members and Millburn educators were invited to visit classrooms, read the students' narratives, and offer compliment slips identifying the strong points in each piece. The young authors were proud to receive multiple feedback from engaging throughout their efforts. At South Mountain School in Wyoming, the fourth graders, there were fourth grade entrepreneurs and recently held a showcase to sell their products at the Treps Marketplace, held on Tuesday, December 2nd and Tuesday, December 9th at their respective schools. We are so proud of all our young entrepreneurs who created and displayed outstanding products while exhibiting great professionalism and enthusiasm. And then the Education Foundation Teacher Holidaygrams. A great way to show your appreciation for Millburn teachers or staff members is through holidaygram donations to the Millburn Education Foundation in their honor, which ends tonight. Holidaygrams contributions support the Education Foundation's annual grant program, which provides funding for innovative programs, technology, tools, and resources across all 8 Millburn public schools. Thank you for the generosity and appreciation of our staff this holiday season. And then in closing, I would like to extend my warmest wishes to everyone during the holiday season. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to all. May this festive season bring you joy, peace, and time to rest and recharge. Wishing you a wonderful holiday season. Respectfully submitted, John Conley.
Thank you, Mr. Conley. Student representative report.
Good evening. I want to start by offering a student's welcome to Mr. Nixon, and on behalf of the student body, I want to say how excited we all are for him to join the school community and get to know him. So this past Friday, we had our first ever homecoming, where students from all 4 grades came together for a fun night of celebration in the gym. Additionally, our high school's chorus and orchestra programs each held their concerts this past Wednesday and Thursday, respectively, and both were a huge success. Finally, we are proud to announce that our high school's newspaper, called The Miller, has officially released a digital version for everyone to access easily. If anyone is interested, please use a link that can be found on the morning announcements to gain access. Overall, students are pushing through the last full week of the year and are motivated to finish strong. Thank you, and I turn it over to Juliana, who can talk about the recent athletics.
So, regarding athletics, it's been another strong week for Millburn Athletics as our winter teams continue to build momentum early in their seasons. The girls' ice hockey team earned their first victory of the year with an impressive win over Summit, while the boys' ice hockey team picked up an exciting win against Johnson, coming back from a 2-1 deficit to end the game 6-2. Boys fencing had a very successful week, opening with a dominant victory over West Orange and following it up with another solid win against Montclair. And then girls fencing was also productive, earning 2 key wins, including a close victory over Montclair. In the pool, boys and girls swimming delivered a decisive victory over Newark Eastside, continuing their strong start to the season. And overall, it's been a great week for Millburn Athletics, and we wish all of our teams continued success as the season progresses. Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy, Ms. Del Torre. All right, moving on to first round of public comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Responses to questions and comments will be posted to the district website before the next board meeting or within 10 school days.
Hi. Good evening. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Currently, BoE meeting allow only in-person attendees to make public comments. At the same time, meetings are broadcast to Zoom participants. However, room-based broadcasting also create challenges. background noise, technical terminologies, abbreviations, accents, quiet speakers, and sometimes overlapping voices can make it hard for remote participants to clearly understand what is being discussed. With transparency, accessibility, and open meeting best practices in mind, I would like to respectively suggest 3 improvements. First, adjust Zoom audio settings. Please enable live captioning and transcription during meetings and publish the full transcript afterward, besides the current summary. For complex discussions, summaries are sometimes incomplete or not fully accurate. A full transcript provides a clear and more reliable public record. It also helps disabled people and who are hard of hearing and residents whose English is not their first language, attendees who miss parts of the audio, and anyone who tries to further their understanding and research technical or financial topics. Secondly, improve the audio caption using professional-grade microphones in the meeting room. Better microphones would reduce background noise and echo and help ensure that all speakers can be heard clearly by remote participants. This will create more equal access for those who cannot attend in person. Third, while the meeting agenda is published in advance, the supporting materials sometimes are not. I respectfully suggest releasing the key documents such as financial reports, board members' presentations, prepared speeches, and committee reports at least 1 week before the meeting. This would give parents and community members time to review the information and prepare meaningful questions or comments. For example, the November 24 meeting, the auditor presented the financial report, which was provided to the board members only a few hours before the meeting. That makes it difficult for board members and especially for parents to fully understand the information in real time or to ask informed questions. These changes would improve transparency, strengthen public trust, and support more informed public participation. I respectfully ask the board to consider piloting live transcription, improve the room audio capture, and advance release of supporting materials for upcoming meetings. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. Happy holidays again. Thank you.
Ma'am, your name and address for the record,
sure.
please.
Jane Shan, 8 Meadowbrook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Zachary Glatt, 12 East Hartshorn. Good evening, members of the board, parents, and our dedicated teachers and administrators. Tonight I see many familiar faces, some I like, some I don't like, and some faces, quite frankly, I've never seen before. Speaking of new faces, I'm happy to see Abby Speltz now on the board to represent the Millburn Ed Foundation. I wouldn't have gotten my start in content making if it weren't for the studio that was generously donated to MHS. I'm also excited to see what Jeffrey Casson and Wee Wee Hung do. I understand that not being student representative, I have a time limit, so I'll keep coming back in line until I'm done speaking. I'm just kidding. I'm not Cory Booker. Even though I'm now in college, I still have students who reach out to me with concerns and update me on what's going on. So that's why I'm here tonight. The first update I received is that junior privilege will be going on in some form in the spring. On behalf of the student body, I'm so thankful to the administration for seeing it pass the trial phase from last year and making downtime a little greater for the junior class. While I may not have gotten to benefit from it myself when I was a junior, it warms my heart to see the junior class benefiting now. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate Jennifer Buffina on 3 years and Chris Heinrichs on a great term as BoE president and run for township committee. The improvements coming to the backfields are tremendous, and you did a really great job knocking on everyone's doors. I hope to see you run again in the near future. Maybe the next hot button topic for the next election could be the parking crisis at Millburn Deli. Thirdly, some students reached out to me early in the semester that they were unhappy with the door locking policy. Students described that as, feeling locked in jail. I'm happy to hear that this policy has been abolished for the benefit of our students. Lastly, it came to my attention that the election for student representative this year happened a little different than in years past. When I was elected as student representative, it was elected at large, with students 9 through 12 all voting, and the alternate appointed at the principal's discretion. This was according to BOE policy. To my understanding, this year's election, students could only vote for other students who were in their grade, and 3 reps were elected. I understand that mishaps occur, and I hope things can go back to normal next year. If a student wants to vote for a candidate in a different grade, they should be able to. Now a call to action. Jackson and Jules, you both done an excellent job so far with your sports reports. I want to remind you that this role can do much more. As student representatives, you get the opportunity to represent the greatest student body in New Jersey. Please reach out to your peers, see what concerns they have, and make proposals that will best represent them. You know, Jules, I remember mock trial. You're a very great public speaker. And Jackson, we did the Entrepreneurship Club. I know you guys can do this. Everyone have a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Blatt.
Hello, my name is Abi Batula,
Hi, my name's Joanne Liu.
and I'm from 151 Highland Avenue, and we're here representing the Energy Club. And so recently we did some energy audits of some of the rooms in Millburn High School. Obviously they're amateur audits because we're a student club, and specifically we did audits of the 70s wings. And so we just thought it would be interesting if we could present some of our findings on how Millburn could be more energy efficient with the board. Obviously these are all amateur audits, so I don't know how great they'll be.
So we noticed some areas of concern was that many interior doors lacked weather stripping. A little less than half of the rooms had damaged window seals. Only one room had an occupancy sensor, which means that there's an increased risk of teachers forgetting to actually shut off their lights and wasting energy. There were dust accumulation in many of the return vents, and also in one of the rooms, 276, there were multiple gaming computers that were apparently turned on longer than they should have been, which was kind of a waste of energy in my opinion. And there are many personal appliances in rooms, such as the art room. There's microwaves and fridges in there that could be replaced with more energy efficient models.
Yeah, so that's all we wanted to say. I wanted to say thank you for your time, for hearing us out, and I'm sure Millburn's always been committed to energy efficiency, so I'm sure some great changes will be in the future. Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your efforts.
Stephen Rosenblatt, 28 Browning Road. First of all, want to welcome Mr. Nixon to Millburn. I also want to thank this board, Dr. Diskin and Mr. Conley, for the progress we've made to date. The board had a huge challenge. We were years and years behind peer district when it comes to understanding how the college system works in this decade. We've made great strides, but I think we still have a ways to go. First of all, how many senior administrators in our district spend any time with the heads of college admissions at top universities? We still have major problems in this district that if we don't solve, we'll continue to push kids to private school, and it will ultimately impact our community. One thing I want to specifically talk about, which we started talking about earlier, is kind of the CPA versus CPB. Schools really have no clue what the difference is. Why is it the same GPA weighting? And if it's going to stay like that, students should just take CPB classes and get better grades, because the college admissions department do not understand the difference. They just see it all as college prep. And so I had kind of did my own homework. University of Maryland, when asking about CPA and CPB, both would be considered college prep in our eyes. University of Florida, when it comes to CPA and CPB, we just see them as college prep. As a reminder, we do not give extra weight to college prep courses, only honors, AP, DE, and IB. University of Miami, unless the school report indicates a specific class under an advanced level, we will consider it a general college prep. I think you get the point, right? They don't know. In our own bio that we have in our school, we say the rigor of our curriculum exceeds that of many of our peer institutions. Students who would likely be at the top of their class in other settings may not stand out amongst their similarly talented peers in Millburn's unique academic environment. Well, it's great that we feel great about ourselves, but unfortunately, college admissions, they're using AI now to look at admissions, and they don't have time to review this. They don't know the difference. 25 years ago, they may have. Today, they don't. So I just think we need to really understand and look at that, which kind of goes then into the AP access, which we started talking about. So I don't know why this is still an issue in Millburn. So we're definitely making strides, but do you think admissions officers, like I just said, understand they know how Millburn operates? They don't. If you spend any time with peer districts, we would know that most don't even have all these restrictions. So I appreciate that we're making progress, we're opening it up, but we're still requiring A minuses for CPA kids to get access to AP classes. Again, what are colleges looking at? I know we want them to love our district, we want them to understand, but if we don't talk to them and help educate them, they have no clue what's going on. They're tasked with numbers. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. What is your GPA? How many AP classes? And we just are, unfortunately, at a disadvantage and giving our students a disadvantage. So we've made some positive strides on the mental health and test corrections, although it still feels like some teachers aren't totally embracing it. But I think it's really time to modernize. We have to hire college advisors who build deep relationships with the top universities. We have to understand if they're using AI now, that they're going to in the future, and they're just filtering out these parameters, because that's how the admissions directors are comped. This is how they're incentivized. So I really hope Mr. Dixon dives into this issue. Mr. Nixon dives into this issue and works with the board and Dr. Diskin, Mr. Conley, to make great strides once and for all. I think many of the parents who complain have no understanding of how the college process works and why so many people have left to go to private school. We don't have time to go slowly. I ask that we speed up these decisions, make the changes we desperately need. Otherwise, our children get impacted, which will lead to the community and district getting impacted. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenblatt.
Good evening. Tara Halpern, 21 Pine Terrace West. I'm going to repeat a lot of what was just said, but I have my notes. I agree that the problems at the high school have improved significantly, but they persist. There is, for a certain level of students, nonstop homework. My daughter, yet again, had dinner in her room tonight because she had about 5 or 6 hours of homework. Grades are not necessarily commensurate with the hard work that students are putting in. Not all the teachers are following the retesting policy. Some don't follow it at all, and some follow it to their own whim. There's no consistency whatsoever. And there seems to be a continued significant disconnect between the staff and what is required for college admissions. On that note, however, the guidance department, under the leadership of Ms. Alvarez, seems to really have made strides, and I truly appreciate the meeting this week for 8th graders going into the high school, and for my daughter, who's a junior, that we're going to actually have a meeting with her guidance counselor in the next few weeks to talk about college preparation. Looking forward, I appreciate the open access to APs, but again, the differentiation between CPA and CPB is problematic because basically it's simply, and I've said this a zillion times to you guys before, it's just not fair that students who have no lab component are compared with students who have lab components. It adds an element of intensity and difficultness to our science curriculum, and it's simply not fair that students are assessed at that same level. Also looking at access to AP and dual enrollment, I hope you expand it more to CPA students. If a B- is required for accelerated, and that's a 3.33, then a similarly 3.33 should be what's expected for CPA students. As the person before me said, the Common App doesn't distinguish between CPA and CPB. It definitely had an impact on my son last year in his applications, and it will continue to have an effect. On that note, I'd like to ask the BOE to revisit midterms. A few years ago during COVID, when you made the midterms only count if it helped the student's grade, I saw students across the board study incredibly hard, take it very seriously without the intense pressure of a 5% or 10% chance of reducing their grade. On a totally other note, I also have a middle schooler. I've begged you guys to do this before. Please, please, please get rid of YouTube on the Chromebook. Our teachers are talented. They can teach the curriculum without relying on videos to YouTube, yet when our kids come home from school and we can't block the internet through GoGuardian because they need the Chromebook to do their homework, they have unfettered access to anything they want to see on YouTube. There is no parental control over that whatsoever. Please, please revisit that. It is absolutely critical. There's no reason that middle schoolers need access to YouTube to be able to do their homework or fulfill their requirements. And I want to leave you with two thoughts. One, my daughter is in AP chemistry. My son is at chemistry at the University of Illinois, which is a top 10 chemistry school in the country. Their curriculums are almost identical. I would actually say that my daughter's is harder. And second, I want to leave you with a quote from my daughter. Last year, it felt like the teachers actually thought of us like people. It's not like that anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Halpern.
Hi, good evening. My name is Leah Monaco, and I am here as the Vice President of the Millburn Education Association. And we would just like to take a moment to thank Ms. Bethina for all of her dedication with board staff, and Mr. Heinrichs as well for all of his dedication, especially during negotiations, which we are very happy that it is now settled and done. On behalf of Danielle and I, we would like to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season. Thank you to the board, the administration, all of our staff that works hard every single day, and to all the families to have a very happy and healthy holiday season.
Thank you, Ms. Monaco.
Check, check.
They turned off the mic.
All right, but the attachments are very important. You're going to vote on changing the organization chart, but when you look, I looked at the organization chart, it wasn't really clear as to the middle school and the elementary schools, who they directly report to. Do they report into the superintendent, or do they report into the HR, new assistant superintendent? Because the line is not clear, because the box is right underneath the HR, and that might want to be clarified. As to one thing I did notice, you're changing the policy, because about a year ago, we heard about Let Sammy Skate. You heard about a middle school junior Olympics person. And I think you might want to clarify for the community that when you looked at the policy, you're crossing out about the high school. If you're a sports, you could take a study hall. I don't know if that's now included in option 2, but that was an issue about a year ago, and I think that needs to be clarified. As to the strategic plan survey, again, I do not have children in the school system anymore. I did get a copy of the survey, I gave it to my wife, and we did send it out to friends, but there's a whole large community that's out there that do not have children, that are not really being reached, and I would just suggest putting it, the link on Happy Millburn, Yappy Millburn, tap into some of the affinity groups, because it's very important that we get a broader section of the community in this. And I know we have a sort of deadline, because it's only on 3 days, but I think you need to reach out to the community to get more of their input. Again, everyone, enjoy the holidays. Again, Jennifer and Chris, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Feld. Any more public comments? Okay, moving on. No discussion items tonight. Moving on to board action items. Item 1, instruction agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve the following items? Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Farashudin? All in favor? Oh, no, we do a roll call, sorry. I meant to say, any comments or questions? All right, now roll call, please.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Moving on to item 2, personal agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve the personal action items? Ms. Bettina, Ms. Speltz? Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Regarding personnel, I just wanted to reiterate Dr. Diskin's comment on thanking Mr. Arlington for doing double duty at the high school and his current job. I think that actually got lost in a lot of what you were saying, so just wanted to call that out again. Thank you, sir. Moving on to business agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve the following actions? Mr. Farashudin? Second, Ms. Speltz, thank you. Any comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Item 4, policy agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve the following items? Motion and a second, please. Ms. Speltz? Mr. Finkelstein, second. Any comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Bettina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. All right, moving on. Any old business to discuss? Mr. Farashudin?
Yeah, I had a quick comment on the parent survey that went out. There's a couple of things. One is our consultants have a library of survey questions. They're used across multiple districts. This is how they get cross-sectional and time series data so that they can be compared. So it was selected from a pretty standard library. The one question we'd have, and any guidance from Dr. Diskin or Mr. Heinrich, if a parent has a child, we're talking about the survey here, if they have like a high schooler and an elementary schooler and the experience is somewhat different around the rigor, what guidance would you give around kind of filling out the survey, if any? Thank you.
So you can fill a survey out as an elementary parent and a middle school or high school parent, so you might want to do that. But there's places in there for comments to to initiate like what your differences are. There's open-ended question, open-ended responses. You can do it all there. But that would be my suggestion, is that you want to kind of look at filling it for elementary and the middle school, high school. You're welcome.
Any other old business? Oh, Ms. Spels.
Sorry, just one more thing. When we mentioned that the survey for the community was due on Friday the 18th, but Friday's the 19th. Is it on Friday or Thursday? Sorry.
It's Friday. That was probably a typo on my side.
All good. Just want to make sure I didn't miss
Yeah,
it.
it's Friday. Yep.
All right, new business. We have a new calendar. Mr. Stars, are you speaking to it, or?
Sure, we're just putting it out there for the board to consider before we act on it at the reorg meeting. So if anybody has any objections to it or wants to comment on it.
Where is it? I couldn't find it in the packet.
It was sent via email with.
A separate email.
On Friday.
Separate attachment.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Finkelstein?
I mean, just from one of the parent comments tonight, just the Chromebook access, my understanding is that the YouTube is YouTube Junior, so it's not unfettered access to YouTube, is what it's supposed to be. And then I suppose there is a further question from the community, should we have any access to YouTube? But it's not unfettered. I'm just trying to get a correction. It's not unfettered YouTube access, is it?
So I think one of the challenges we have with the YouTube is that there are like instructional materials that the teachers are using on there. So when they turn it off, it's turned off completely. So this is something we can go back and look at and figure out, if there are workarounds.
But is it a junior, like a YouTube Junior? I remember that from a prior presentation.
I believe it is YouTube Junior, but once you go home, you may have access to other YouTube sites. Right, if you go outside of the Millburn.org domain, which is what many students will do. So if you're operating outside of like the classroom space.
But that would be so what I'm understanding is that in Millburn, on our Millburn accounts, the likelihood is that it's YouTube Junior, but we're going to confirm that. And the second is that if the student goes home and uses their own machine and is not using a Millburn.org, then that's not under our control. We can't control what they do at home. But when they're logged into our Chromebooks, we can track that. So it's just, a matter we'll just dive a little deeper into and figure that out. But using the Millburn Chromebooks, they should not be allowed to access any free YouTube channels. That's what I think, but I'll verify.
Ms. Long-Riches?
Right, and I say I know the YouTube thing very well because my kids, I mean, the reels and the videos on not only YouTube but TikTok and all of these things. I mean, I feel like this is the destruction of our children's minds. It's 30 seconds of this, 30 seconds of this, and it's causing all sorts of issues. But as a music teacher myself, YouTube is an invaluable resource for me to use in class for performances and videos of things. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 where you kind of, and it's also a little 6-7. No, and then where, sorry, sorry.
Middle school teacher.
Middle school teacher, sorry. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's tricky because there are so many good things and then there's so many bad things, and it's just a hard balance to find. So I just wanted to sympathize because I hate I hate the continuous videos and the unfettered thing, but I also use it professionally and I use it with my students as well. So,
Mr. Fairshooten?
On a more serious note, on behalf of the board members, we would like to also thank you, Mr. Heinrichs, Ms. Mathena, and we would be remiss not to mention Mr. Reddy, who was elected with you guys, who fought very hard with all of you guys to this journey of opening access, the grading, and the culture. So again, thank you all three of you, for your service to the district and the kids, and we wish you the best going forward.
Thank you, Ms. Fairshooten. Do you want to speak now or after? All right, Ms. Bettina?
So I have a little something prepared, written out. So as most of you know, today marks the end of my 3-year appointment to the Board of Ed. I chose not to seek another term because I truly feel that my work here is complete and a lot of good change is set in motion. Serving on the board has really made me appreciate just how much goes into running a high-performing school district like Millburn, from facilities and finance, policy making, and closest to my heart, curriculum and instruction. I spent much of my tenure on the program committee, and while we didn't always agree on everything, I think we shared a common commitment to doing what was best for our students. I'm incredibly proud of what my board colleagues, past and present, our administration, past and present, have accomplished together. I want to offer thanks to the community for their trust in me, Board President Heinrichs, Superintendent Dr. Diskin, Mr. Connolly, the administration, Peter, Kyle, our curriculum supervisors, directors, student representatives, everyone for their leadership, expertise, and partnership through my tenure. I step away confident that the district is in excellent hands and that many great things are still to come. Most especially, I want to thank our teachers. Your dedication and daily commitment to students are truly a foundation of this district, and it has been an honor to support your work. I also like to offer a special thank you to Cheryl Snyder. She's not here anymore, our former BA, one of the smartest and kindest people I've had the pleasure of working with. I'm sorry, Abby, and you guys won't get to work with her, but I really appreciate her. I feel fortunate and truly blessed to have the opportunity to serve this community, and I wish the incoming new board members, Wei, Abby, Jeff, the best of luck. Thank you.
All right, on to the next round of public comments. Same rules as the first round. Any comments? Fantastic. Any final board member comments? Mr. Lawrence.
Thanks. I was reviewing the calendar, and I had a suggestion. On August 24th, that's typically a lot of people take off on vacation last week of the summer. Maybe suggest have the meeting on the 17th, the week before. I just the 24th you're away, or the week before that? Oh, you're away. And normally they, never mind, because of the last-minute personnel actions, they try to catch as many as possible at the last. That's fine. In addition to that, of course, I want to say thank you to parting board members. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you. True honor, and like everybody said, we accomplished so much throughout the past 3 years and beyond. So really, thank you for setting the stage for the future for the district and for all of us. Thank you.
Mr. Bigman.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you also to Jennifer and to Chris. I started new last year, and I'm actually surprised this is 1 year because it felt like 2 years. But throughout that period of time, I know that you've taught me so much. Like, I learned so much from you. You're always willing to help, and I think a lot of these comments that were stated today explain the appreciation for you, but unless you're really behind the scenes, you really don't know how much dedication, commitment, and time these people actually spend to support our entire community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn? Ms. Patina, Ms. Longley Richards, all in favor? We're adjourned.